Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be talking about which DLCs are best in each category. I originally was going to make this video about all of the DLCs, but I'm going to be showing what DLCs do what best instead. This is also just my opinion, so don't take it as me hating on any of the other DLCs, this is just what my personal preferences are. Along with this, go ahead and pick a category and what DLC you think fits best in it, and put it in the comments. Let's get into the video. We're going to have 5 categories here, which is going to be loot, story, looks, farmability, and overall. We'll do this in order to make things easy, so that means first up is loot. Loot is just what it sounds like. What weapons the DLC has and how good are they. There were 2 DLCs that I wanted to consider here, those being the Dragon Keep DLC and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC, but what I landed on was the Captain Scarlet DLC. Honestly, it's got some of the best weapons in the game, many that are pretty much required for any good build. The Sandhawk has remained one of the best SMGs in the game and is extremely powerful on Maya. The Pimpernel is one of the easiest to use and best snipers in the game, especially for characters like Zero. The Norfleet also has one of the easier farms in this DLC, along with plenty of Seraphs and cursed items to go with it. And along with Seraphs, this DLC actually introduced them as a whole to the game. What I think sets this apart from other DLCs is that the items in this don't have great counterparts outside of the DLC. The Sandhawk doesn't have an equal counterpart, and the Pimpernel has either the Layuta or the Pitchfork, which are both legendaries and not a blue that you can get for free. The DLC also has the Rapier, which remains probably the best melee weapon in the entire series. There's just a stack of great weapons throughout, and every one item has remained at the top of the loot pool for basically the whole life cycle of Borderlands 2. So for me, it's going to be my choice for best loot. Next up is story, and I think for this one, the Dragon Keep DLC is the best fit. It not only covers so many areas, but also narrates over the player in their playthrough. It gives 2 tones of the actual playing of the game, seeing what's going on in front of you, and then hearing the Vault Hunters talk between each other, different characters infrequently popping up in the background as you can hear them walk into the Crimson Raiders headquarters. The themes and introductions of different in-game characters as their own role-playing counterparts is also a great spin on things, as it shows different perspective of the Vault Hunters we know and how they'd handle a fictional event like this. The DLC gives a lot of humanity and personal connection to the characters that makes it feel like they're just right next to you rather than behind a screen. All along with the characters helping Tina come to terms with the loss of a loved one as she uses different elements of the story to cover up trauma, the endeavor acts as a personal journey more than anything instead of it just being another Vault Hunter escapade. So for me, I think this one is my best for stories. Moving on to looks, this one is an extremely subjective one, but my personal bias lands towards the Bloody Harvest DLC, and to some that might sound a bit weird because the full-size DLCs in Borderlands 2 have a lot more content, but when it comes to lighting, the scaling of everything, and how the map changes throughout, the Bloody Harvest DLC comes together very well. Best way I can describe it is that it reminds me a lot of Tim Burton's set pieces where, even though it's compact, it's very visually busy. Structures stick out but are detailed, and the enemy models work seamlessly with everything. There's so many areas where you can just turn off HUD and take a screenshot, and I think it makes the DLC worth going back to. Even though it really isn't farmable and there's not a lot of loot at all, I think the visuals are still amazing. So while I am very biased towards my pick, I'm still going to stand by it and say that it is the best looking DLC. Farmability is going to be a pretty simple one. This is just which DLC I think is the best to farm and how good the farms are. For me, the Mercenary Day DLC takes this one. The farm is super quick, easy, gets you great loot, and while it's only relegated to base game and pearlescent weapons rather than DLC weapons, it still is my favorite to run through. The farm path is very direct, the boss is easy to kill, and you get a huge amount of iridium from both the boss and the chests. It's just such an easy and efficient farm that it always has me running back to the DLC since I can just stumble upon a pearl or plenty of good legendaries. Along with the DLC looking great and all the enemies being very easy to deal with during the farm, everything just ties in super well. I think that there are some good DLCs that could be mentioned alongside this, like the Captain Scarlet DLC or the Fight for Sanctuary as well, but it's just the fact that this one is only a headhunter and can still get you such a large chunk of loot in the game that makes it so good. You can basically turn your brain off during the runs and just stumble into pearls and legendaries if you're persistent enough. I think that the Fight for Sanctuary DLC cuts it really close to the Mercenary Day DLC with the loot midget farms and the effervescence being really easy to farm, but I just enjoy the farm a tiny bit more, and that's basically only because the Mercenary Day DLC was out for so much longer than the Fight for Sanctuary DLC, so it's something that I and a lot of other players have just been accustomed to running through. This is my pick for farmability, but I think the Fight for Sanctuary DLC cuts it the absolute closest in comparison. Onto overall, this is the DLC that does all of these things the best. Looks, farms, loot, story, and I think this one has to go to Dragon Keep. I like the Captain Scarlet DLC as a close second just because some of the items are so good like the Pimpernel and the Sandhawk, but Dragon Keep also has the Grog Nozzle and an abundance of great class mods and grenades. The looks on Dragon Keep are also just incredible in comparison to all of the campaign DLCs in my opinion. It's the fact that it looks like a more collected Borderlands rather than just a chaotic and apocalyptic one, with areas like Flamerock Refuge and even the Sorcerer's Tower just looking amazing. The lighting effects of most of the maps shine through areas and illuminate them really well, and the structures and maps like the Mines of Avarice and Hatred's Shadow in my opinion look better than anything in all of the other campaign DLCs. The story as well in this DLC is great as I discussed earlier, and I think that it just has more down-to-earth substance to it rather than it just being another adventure that the Vault Hunters go through. There's a lot of character development between all of the Vault Hunters, and the story itself acts as a way for Tina to cover up the past emotional trauma, which creates further development past just the normal story that we're familiar with. The humanity it gives all the characters, with the DLC looking like an example of some normal life away from the apocalyptic chaos in Pandora, tied together with the great gameplay and visuals, just makes this DLC perfect for me at least. I think there's something here for everyone in this DLC, and it's always a worthwhile playthrough, so that's why it's going to get overall for me. That's all I've got for today, and if you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to support the channel, feel free to subscribe, and go ahead and comment what DLCs you guys think are the best in each category as well. I'll see you guys next video.